Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The scion of Slaanesh, Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, takes the field against the Vampire Coast in this Warhammer World Championship Round 3 matchup between zer0 and KaMiKaZe. So for the Chaos Army led by zer0, it is going to be an army we have seen already. So this is going to be Chaos Marauders in that front line. It is going to be, of course, Prince Sigvald the Magnificent coming on in as the Lord. He is going to be bringing Standard Eye, Heroic Killing Blow, Slippery. He does have his Auric Armor as well. And for the rest of the forces, we do have double Chaos Spawn. They are a nice Unbreakable unit. We also are going to be seeing some Aspiring Champions for their magic damage. Going to be hoping to make sure those Sirens are kept in check. And then we also do have the Mirror Guard. We have a Chaos Warriors with Halberds, a few units of those guys. And then on the flank, it is going to be Marauder Horsemen, mixed in with some Marauder Horse Masters. And of course we do have a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Fire, going to be bringing in with Fireball, Burning Head, and the Scroll of Shielding as well, and a couple more Horsemen on that far side. But that is going to be the Chaos Army, very similar, maybe a unit or two different than what we have seen in an earlier video from round 2. But then for the rest of the opponent side, going to be the Vampire Coast. We do have a front line of Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs, going to be flanked by some polearms in the back here, going to be protecting their very juicy inner defenses, as we do have Count Noctilus going to be up on his Necrofex Colossus, going to be rolling on in. He actually has some little interesting spells he's going to be bringing, see if we're going to be seeing it on the battlefield, because he does have the Wind of Death. So Wind of Death, very it's a very powerful spell, but it is such a risky, and it's very expensive too, so it very often will not provide its value. We have Invocation of the Heck, we have Drowned Dead, and then of course we also do have a Wraithstorm to boot as well. No Captain Roth's Moondial, so no additional summons than what he's already been got. We also have some Lamprey's Revenge in the back, double mortars, 3 handgun variants, one of which is the Black Spot, so that does make them a polearm unit in and of themselves, so they can be a little bit more resistance against some charges. We do have a couple of Scurvy Dogs going to be in the flank, and then we do have a Deck Dropper with handguns, 2 units of those, and 1 Fellbat in the sky as well. But pretty tight formation for the Vampire Coast, but that is going to be it. So let's get things rolling as Chaos does advance here. They have plenty of tools to really screen out all of these bats. There's not really that many here. It's not like the last opponent where he faced off against, where it was just very heavy air. So all of these as Marauder Horsemen are going to be able to screen these bad boys out pretty effectively. Not going to have to be worried too much about a sniping attempt here, but the Necrofex Colossus is going to be able to do a lot of damage at range, especially against the Chaos Warriors with Halberds. Going to be able to do some nice bit of damage there. And he is going to be using the Wraithstorm early on. Going to be targeting these Chaos Spawn, hoping to get as much damage off onto them as he can. And a few shots are going to be in, but really that wasn't all too much damage there. But they are going to be charged on forward. Chaos Marauders have taken quite a bit of damage early on, and Prince Sigvald is diving straight forward. He is hunting for Count Noctilus, looking to get that guy shut down as quickly as he can and close that distance as well. Now that these handgunners are going to have a lot harder time getting a clean shot on him, and he is doing actually some nice damage to Count Noctilus, who does get a overcasted Raised Dead to get that Zombie Pirate Gunnery mob off onto the field. And on these far flanks, with the spawn, they're actually doing quite a bit of good work here, already taking these frontline units down to half health and dropping rather fast, which is going to allow them to get into that juicy back line. And we do have a Burning Head going to be roasting through these Black Spot, doing a ton of damage there, and that unit is going to be done and dusted. I think we're going to see, yep, and there they go, disintegrating. Also going to be hitting these polearm units here, doing a nice bit of damage there, but a very nice Burning Head cast, eliminating one of the very potential big threats here. And that is going to now allow the Mirror Guard to kind of waltz right on in, not have to worry too much about all of that handgun fire, now especially with the Chaos Warriors with Halberds now getting in. That is going to be a second unit shut down for now, and the rest of them, just like even this unit here, is going to be getting shut down by these Chaos Spawn. So things are actually looking pretty good for Chaos at this point. Lots of the range units are being shut down, and even though the battle power is pretty even right now, a lot of the potential power for the Coast Army here is getting shut down. Like, they're not firing right now, so that means the front line is just kind of holding for nothing, as none of these shots are raining in. All the Chaos Spawn have been able to push through, get right onto the mortars. The Halberds are going to be very stuck in, especially against Lamprey's Revenge. Is a very nice engagement for them right here, because they is a nice anti-large unit. And they'll be able to chip away at the Lamprey's Revenge. Lamprey's Revenge really does not want to be in this engagement. They want to be pulling out going for some of the other things, kind of helping screen things up. But that does open up the line for a zombie pirate gunnery mob getting charged in by these horsemen, as well as that Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Fire. Going to be shutting down the last of the free handgun units at this point. The one is trying to pull themselves out, but Noctilus getting really stuck in with Prince Sigvald the Magnificent, really keeping him nice and occupied, making sure that he's going to be firing in some of his more expensive units like the Chaos Warriors, the Halberds. Burning Head roasting right on through these handguns here. Not quite as powerful as that first cast, but it is able to take them down to half health and get them crumbling once again. And Chaos just looks to be like an unstoppable force at this point. Nothing is really slowing them down. They're just mowing right through that front line, getting right into the back line. And then even Count Noctilus here is no match for Prince Sigvald, who does have all of his abilities popped here. So he is able to do quite a bit of extra more damage. And he has essentially been taking none. He's been out healing the damage that Noctilus is able to dish him out. And Noctilus really is a ranged lord here. He needs to be firing at range like as he is now. But Prince Sigvald relentless in his pursuit of the big vampire lord. So he's going to be chasing him right down throughout the course of this fight, keeping him otherwise distracted. And yeah, at this point, that is just about it for the Vampire Coast. Looks like Chaos is going to have a very strong opening performance here in round 3. Going to be able to take down the Vampire Coast in rather convincing fashion. They really didn't have a whole lot that slowed them down here. Everything just kind of went very, very smoothly for them. We'll take a little look at the battle report, and we'll update the scorecard as well, as zer0 does take game 1. A very I'd say rather comfortable performance for Chaos. They didn't really have a whole lot to worry about. On the Vampire Coast side, just going to take a quick look at the engagements. Lamprey's Revenge really weren't engaged in the unit that they needed to be. Those Chaos Warriors with Halberds, that was like the last unit, the only unit that they really didn't want to be engaged with, and that was who they were engaged with in that fight. Otherwise, handguns actually did some pretty decent work up for the deck droppers. The bats and the scurvy dogs really just were not very helpful here. Some of the handgun, or one of the handguns, did some decent work. Otherwise, nothing else paid for itself here. And Noctilus was probably the biggest disappointment here. You really needed to make sure he stayed away from Prince. He needed to bog him down with summons, because Sigvald, he really doesn't care. He's pretty cheap. He can just kind of run in. He's not the spellcaster, so he just his job was just to bog down Count Noctilus, and he did a very good job at doing that, and he racked up a ton of value in the meantime. 3,700 just from engaging with Noctilus, because that is all he was engaged with, so that was a ton of value right there. The Chaos Bond did some decent work. Pretty much just high mass, able to get into those gun units, shut them down. And then the Horsemen, Horsemasters, they really didn't even have enough time to generate a ton of value, considering how quickly Chaos was able to kind of push through the forces of the Vampire Coast. So their value, normally you'd expect them to see a lot more in this department. However, the Chaos Warriors with Halberds, one did pretty abysmal, not really a whole lot. The other one, who was engaged with the Lamprey's Revenge, did very well with 1,100. Mirror Guard, 161. Again, they just didn't really take any damage. They weren't really engaged until kind of later on in the fight. But otherwise, that's just about it. And then, of course, we have the Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Fire with a very juicy set of Burning Heads, getting 1,300 in that department. But that's going to be it for Game 1. We're going to roll right on into Game 2 of this Best of 3 series. For Game 2 of this Best of 3 series, the Trolls are coming to town. There's going to be quite a few of them on the Greenskin side, as the Greenskins face off against the Tomb Kings. We have zer0 on the Greenskins, and the Tomb Kings will be led by KaMiKaZe. So for the Greenskin army, it is going to be Savage Orcs mixed in with a couple of Goblins for some chaff for that front line, and they will be backed up by triple Stone Trolls. Stone Trolls are quite strong in this matchup with their regen, their armor piercing, able to do quite well against the constructs of the Tomb Kings, and are able to kind of withstand much of what they have to offer. So, and then for the rest of the forces, we do have Grom the Paunch going to be rolling on in. Looks like he does have a Language of Du Bois, and he does have Lucky Banner, giving that 40% damage resist and melee attack. Such a useful thing. And of course, he pretty much needs Language of the Bois here with those trolls. So he does give that immune to psychology when he is engaged in melee. For the rest of the forces, we do have the 8 Peak Loonies, as well as some Night Goblin Fanatics on the other front. Again, just kind of chew through the tightly packed formation of the of the Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings do, especially Tomb Guard, for example, is a very juicy target for these guys to be firing in against. For the rest, we do have a pair of Giant River Troll Hags. One does have Soul Blight and Mither. The other is bringing Spirit Leech and Mither, so lots of slows, and having, again, just 2 more regenning heroes can be very helpful for the Greenskin here for the mobility. We do have some Forest Goblin Spider Riders with some Goblin Wolf Rider Archers with the Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers as well, and that is going to be it for the mobility. Pretty light in that department, only a couple units of those. And then just one of the melee variant. Actually, there is one more unit mixed in. So we do have the Morgrub's Mangy Marauders, which it does have armor piercing, the ROR Goblin Wolf Rider variant. But that is going to be it for the Greenskins. So let's roll on in to see what the Tomb Kings have to offer. So we do have Arkan the Black. He's going to be rolling in on his chariot. So he does have Spirit Leech. It looks like we have Fate of Buna as well by the looks of it. And then we have the Liber Mortis. We have the Staff of Nagash and the Tomb Blade of Arkan. He's going to be rolling in with a couple of skeleton archer chariots as well, providing a little bit of skirmish, and they will be able to tank pretty much all of the shots from the Goblin Wolf Riders, the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. Now the Morgrub's Mangy Marauders, they will actually take some damage from them. We also have some Nehekran Horsemen ranging the field for some nice mobility, and these are a very effective unit of the skeleton horsemen, considering they trade so well into so many different units, but only having one of them, just kind of lucky, I guess, that the Greenskins don't have a ton of mobility of their own, so they should be able to do some nice work in that mobility department, but really they kind of need to be kept in reserve to help chase off all of the trolls and the like when they do inevitably rout. For the rest of the forces, we do have skeleton warriors for that front line. Just some nice cheap chaff, but we do have the Kepler Guard, a much more elite unit, and they will do very well against the front line of the Greenskins, especially considering they do magic damage, so they'll cut through that physical resist of the Savage Orcs, but they have to be very, very careful. They kind of need to be kept in reserve, wait out those initial loons, and then engage in melee. Otherwise, they will take a ton of damage before they even engage with what they need to. For the rest of the forces, we do have a couple of Ushapti, some nice armor piercing, bonus versus infantry. They won't get that bonus versus infantry versus the stone trolls, but they will still be very helpful in dealing with them with their armor piercing. Of course, the trolls will still do quite well against them in turn. They just need a little bit of assistance in that. We do have a Camarine War Sphinx as well, which is going to be just kind of providing a little bit of extra missile fire, but it does have that armor piercing bonus versus infantry as well. It can be reckoned through the Greenskin lines, and then we do have some more units, some more Nehekran Horsemen, so there is 3 in total, so they do have enough mobility to kind of really get some nice charges in, kind of screen things out, and kind of make sure things do get chased off. But that is going to be it. So let's roll on into Game 2. As the rest of the forces do kind of slowly move up bit by bit, the Tomb King's going to be just kind of content to take this upper hill here while the Stone Trolls do charge in, but they do want to be getting a counter charge here. They don't want to just let these Skeleton Warriors take that charge. This is when those Camarine War Sphinx and the Shopti need to charge in. These guys can be doing just that, charging into those Stone Trolls through their own lines, getting some nice damage dealt in that regard. But the mobility for the Greenskins really has taken quite a bit of damage early on. They have dished out some in return, but they were on the verge of wavering there, but they are able to stabilize their leadership. And here is that loon going to be rolling right on through, just decimating these skeleton warriors. And I do hear a Fate of Buna someplace. We do have a nice Liber Mortis going down here, but there is that loon. That is exactly why the Kepler Guard did not want to be so gung-ho about getting in that engagement, because of that loon. They take a lot of damage in that department, and the Camarine War Sphinx, though, is helping out, but both of these Stone Trolls just wailing on these Kepler Guard. Kepler Guard are not going to be able to do very well against the Stone Trolls. They need, their engagement is against infantry, and even these Ushapti on this side taking a ton of damage from the Stone Trolls. Stone Trolls are just wrecking through the Tomb King formation. Not a whole lot is going to be able to be done. The only hope here is going to be the Skeleton Horse Archers and the Camarine War Sphinx to try and finish off the Stone Trolls, and they really just need to break them and just chase them off, because they're not really going to be able to kill them with what they have left. We do get a nice recharge in from Arkan the Black, and there is a Spirit Leech on one of these units here, but they are able to break one of the Stone Trolls, so that is a nice plus side there. It is going to be routing kind of away from the mobility of the Tomb Kings, and the Tomb Kings need to pull something back. These Nahekron horsemen here need to charge these stone trolls. They need to chase them down. These guys cannot be afforded to come back, and they need to do that with every single one of the trolls that do route. And unfortunately, it does not look like the Tomb Kings have any response to that matter. So those stone trolls are going to be able to come back, and they're just going to continue to heal right on up. I mean, if you look at how many models they have, like, they've only lost one unit, so they're going to be able to heal up so much here, and they just need to continually route things down. So we have another Spirit Leech going down on these stone trolls. Now they're going to be able to resist that damage a little bit, but they are going to be starting to take some more and more damage, losing another model there, and they are getting on the verge of wavering, and hopefully the Tomb Kings do have some response here to be able to take these guys down. But so far it looks like the Greenskins pulling ahead ever so slightly in that balance of power, but these trolls are just going to be able to keep coming, and they're just going to be able to heal up more and more. And even all of like the giant river troll hags and ground the punch as well, still healing up very, very nicely. And Arkin the Black is in a very bad spot right here. He is surrounded by stone trolls. However, this one of the stone trolls does end up routing, so that is going to be a little reprieve for him. But he is taking a ton of damage, especially from Morgul's Main Marauders, as he just continues to get just shot to pieces and just beaten down by these massive trolls with their armor piercing. And yeah, finally, one of the Necron horsemen trying to kind of push through the trees here to kind of get after these stone trolls. But instead, they are going to be pushing back the Force Spider Riders. And yeah, we're going to probably be seeing these trolls back at it again. Especially considering I think Arkin the Black is actually going to be probably going down here from all these shots from Morgul's Main Marauders. All these Skirmish Cav at this point can actually finish him off. And bounce power pretty heavily in the favor of the Greenskins at this point. The War Sphinx just is unable to really kind of get that stopping power, get those stone trolls off the field, and things looking mighty grim for the Tomb Kings. It looks like zer0 is going to be winning game 2, just kind of as he did in the first one, a little closer than that one, but still rather comfortably. All these stone trolls are just such a hard thing to get rid of, and he has done a very good job at just kind of prioritizing his targets, and down goes the Tomb Kings, and that is going to be all she wrote. Game 2 going to be going to zer0 as he does take his first series in the Warhammer World Championship Round 3 2-0. Going to be putting himself off nice for the rest of his games. So let's update that scorecard as we take a little look at the after battle report as well. So if we take a look at the Tomb Kings led by KaMiKaZe, yeah, just really not so great in terms of the constructs. However, the Skeleton Archer Chariots did do very, very well, over 1,000 per unit. So these guys did probably a lot better than what I've expected them to do at the onset of this match. So maybe going a little bit more heavy into these guys may have been the way to go. Necron Horsemen, I think the biggest problem with these guys was they were too busy chasing all of the skirmish cav for the Greenskins, and what they needed to do is make sure they chased off those stone trolls. And because there was multiple instances of stone trolls, they did end up routing. It's pretty much expected with those low leadership units, but they needed to be chased off, especially considering you pretty much had that mobility advantage. If you had broken off any of those Necron horsemen to chase them down, there wasn't really anything that the Greenskins could have done. They could have shot them with some of their skirmish cav, but they weren't going to be able to bring them down, and they would have been able to pretty much chase those guys off the field, and that probably would have made a big difference in this fight, just getting that mobility to make sure that they did end up getting pushed off. The Kepler Guard, while they were able to get 900 value, they really weren't engaged with the units they needed to be, and that is like the stone trolls. They just beat them down so ruthlessly without taking a whole lot in return. They do quite well against Savage Orcs. They do very well, but they need to be engaged with them and not stone trolls, and I think that was kind of one of the big faults with those guys, and at taking those loons early on sure didn't help in that regard. We have Arkin the Black as well. I think you also need a Necrotech here if you're going to be bringing double melee Ushapti with the Carrion War Sphinx. There's just so much value from those Necrotechs, but Arkin really didn't do a whole lot either. Now if we take a look at the Greenskin side, the stone trolls did very well, so 900 on these guys, 800 and 900 again on these other ones. And they pretty much had all their models left. I think these guys lost a couple. These guys didn't even lose a single one. They did take damage, but of course, just that constant regen is just so very, very helpful. Morgul's Main Marauders, again, doing very well. 1,400. A lot of that shots was onto Arkin himself. So good armor-piercing values there. Also into the Carrion War Sphinx, I think, as well. But most of that, I think, was into Arkin. Rest of the forces, the Actually, the Savage Orcs getting 1,000 for them, 400 on these guys. Another one with, oh, actually, these are the 8-beak loonies getting 1,100, 300 on the other fanatics, and then both of the troll hags, one of them getting 1,300, and then Grom 700 to boot. But all of that regen is just so hard to deal with, and yeah, you just have to take advantage of your mobility, and you have to make sure that when things route, that they stay routed and they don't come back, because then they're just going to be able to get more and more value, and it's a lot harder to bring down once you've lost the tools to be able to do damage and cause them to rout. But otherwise, good fun series there. zer0 going to be coming in strong into round 3, taking his first series 2-0. But that's all I'm going to have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.